All right, are we live? Okay, tonight we're going to be talking about blue collar versus white collar in the AI era. If you want to share your thoughts, call 801-810-7442. The number is right there at the top. In fact, I will copy and paste it into the comments down below. Hold on here. Let's go to... So the phone lines are open. Let's go to the... let's see here. Open you up here. Let's go to call in. So the phone lines are open. All right, and I'll just pin that phone number to the top right there. Open you up here. Okay, so earlier I watched this video titled, I have zero sympathy for college graduates crying about their struggles. Turn off that feedback there.
Got off work, stealing my dirty work clothes. My hands are still dirty after I washed them. Looking and smelling like a mess. And I thought, what a perfect time and what a perfect mood for me to make this video. I've had about 4 people in the last couple weeks that have messaged me directly or like emailed me, contacted me directly that wanted to get my take on this situation. And I've had about 3 or 4 others that have just sent me videos of like Jack Morgan, shout out to Jack Morgan, reacting to college graduates, people with college degrees, not finding work, no longer having work, not doing as well as they thought they should be doing. I had about a handful of people now reach out to me sympathizing with those people and wanting my thoughts on it. Before I get into this, I understand, like I've said in other videos, if you really want success on YouTube, you're going to tread lightly on certain things.
That's true.
Or you're going to fully play the villain.
Also true.
I've thought about this video. I almost wasn't going to make it. But then I caught myself turning into one of the people that I really don't like on YouTube that aren't being genuine. I have to be genuine. I'm going to continue to say things that might be controversial sometimes. I still want to be as positive as possible. But if I got to say something, I've got to say something. This is one of those videos where I'm sure half of you will not agree with me. Probably going to lose a lot of subscribers.
No.
And it is what it is. I'm never going to let that be the deciding factor on what I say. I'm just not. This channel can fall apart tomorrow, and I'd still feel better about myself by being genuine, because this will never exceed the income that I have with my real job, I imagine. If it does, that'd be awesome, but I don't see myself getting out of roofing. I enjoy roofing. I've done it since I was a teenager, and I love it. It's one of the things that I want to talk about in this video. So enough rambling. Let's jump into this. I apologize for that long intro. My thoughts on the people that are making TikTok videos and YouTube videos and Instagram videos that have their degrees, claiming that the system failed them, they were sold a lie, this rigged game set them up for failure. I couldn't see it any further from that, and I'm going to tell you why. None of the people that I knew, and I'm only going to speak from my life experience. I've had a lot of you guys say this in other videos. You need to quit talking about your life experience. That's all I can give is my life's experience. At least with my generation and my life's experience, there was always a rift between blue-collar bastards like me and people that were planning to go off to college to be better. There's always been that rift. The teachers, most adults, and the students that loved the idea of college, they did nothing but talk down put down and belittle blue-collar workers, blue-collar work itself, everything from the trades like myself to delivering packages, driving trucks, delivering anything or any physical work, anything with your hands.
Maybe this is because I grew up in a small town, and a lot of the students in my high school were the descendants of farmers, that I did not get that experience. I always got the experience of just right down the middle. Yes, they tried to get everyone to go to college and get a degree, but I don't think that anyone was treated with scorn for wanting to go into blue collar or a trade.
They belittled, talked down to them, were better than them. And myself and many others outright have these conversations with many people that I know today in my real life that are in that situation, went off to college, fell massively into debt, and now don't have a job. And if they do, it's not a job they wanted. I had these conversations with these people. I told them I thought that what they were doing wasn't a good idea. Let me be clear. Some things you have to go to college for. I'm not saying all college is a waste, but I'm not a fan of school in general. I don't like the way we do school. Most things, again, from my experience, most of the people that fall into this category that I've known.
All right, everyone, we got a call coming in, so I'm going to take it, and then we'll get back to the video.
Call from
John Riddle.
All right, you there?
Yeah.
Hey.
Hold on, I'm eating cat turds out of the litter box right now. Hold on.
Okay, you've got a really
they're
bad
ready.
connection.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to switch, try and find a better connection.
Kamala Harris is fucking me right now. Oh, yeah.
Call from
American Ranger.
Hey, how's it going? Are you there?
Press 1. To send a voicemail, press
American Ranger?
Oh, hey, how's it going? Am I on the live show
Yes,
with you?
you are.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say I support your channel and I love what you do and everything, and just wanted to drop by and say I support everything you do, and
Thank you.
just want to know if I could get a shout out real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. All right. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, American Ranger, right? All right. Thanks for the call.
They went to school for shit that I thought was stupid. I remember many conversations with people that I went to school with where I said, I don't think there's going to be a job at the end of that. Why would you go to school for that? They thought otherwise. In fact, let me tell you about a guy named Anthony. I'll use his real name because I don't give a shit. I hope he does see this. There was a guy named Anthony that I went to school with. I've known him since elementary school. One of the last memories I had of Anthony is I was dropping out to start roofing. Loser, right? Anthony was giving me a hard time because I was dropping out and I was going to go to work with my bros and my dad on the same roofing crew that they were on. I told Anthony, I think what you're going to school for is a waste of time. And I don't remember what it was. I'm not going to lie. I don't remember what it was. I'm not going to make something up. I just don't. But I remember it wasn't something that I thought was a good idea. Thought it was a waste. He was going to go off to UW, University of Washington. The last thing Anthony said to me, as I talked to him in this mini mall parking lot when I left Target, he was in his car leaving. He looks at me and he goes, yeah, say what you want. Let's see in 10 years from now who's successful and who's not. You're going to end up being a loser like your dad. And he puts his car in drive and takes off. And I was furious.
I don't know if I believe this. Did he say it was a friend of his that said that?
You want, let's see in 10 years from now who's successful and who's not. You're going to end up being a loser like your dad. And he puts his car in drive and takes off. And I was furious. I was furious.
Well, yeah.
My dad works so hard to keep a roof over our head. Worked his ass off and was so good to people. And to hear people like Anthony disrespect my dad, call him a loser because he was a construction worker, call him a loser, take off laughing with your elitist attitude going off to college. Well, guess what? I saw Anthony about 5 years ago. Guess where I saw him? I saw him at Costco. He was working at the Costco here in Seattle. And it was an amazing feeling. You guys might judge me.
So your response is to shit on Costco workers now.
For this, but it was an amazing feeling to see Anthony years later after he disrespected me and disrespected my dad and took off. To see him at Costco, miserable, in debt, horrible physical shape, depressed. And here I am walking in and bragging about being a licensed contractor for how long, doing good. I'm not rich, doing good though, making way better money than him, way happier than him. I love what I do. I'm proud of what I do. I wouldn't trade anything for the memories working with my dad and my bros. I wouldn't trade anything for that. To see that jealousy in his eyes was the best revenge I could ever wish for. Last time I saw him 5 years ago, massively in debt to end up working at Costco. I don't feel any sympathy for him. Another example I'll give you is one of my exes. I'm not going to say her name because she's a raging lunatic and she'd probably raise hell if I used her name. But one of the reasons we broke up was because she was going off to school at down in Pullman, Washington.
Yeah, I used to live in Pullman, Washington. All right, we got another call coming in.
Call from
High Res Production.
to accept.
High Res Production, you there?
Yes.
Hey, how's it
I'm
going?
eating cat turds right now. Hold on.
Oh my God.
Mm.
I'm going to have to block
Yes.
you.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Kamala's fucking me.
All right, let's keep going.
Same thing. What she was going to school for was literally the stupidest thing I had ever heard. It was some degree in, God, what was it? It was something silly. And I told her straight up, I said, hey, babe, there's not going to be any job at the end of this. Like, you're wasting your time and your money. But she had to go off to school, in which she cheated when she was off at school, might I say. I found out later.
Hey, Alien Cat. This roofer has zero sympathy for college graduates that are struggling to find a job right now.
Same thing. She called me about 2.5 years later. Depressed, crying, because she was not going to school any longer. She was dropping out. Couldn't find a job. Massively in debt. I didn't have any sympathy for her. I told her. And she put me down as well. She disrespected me, disrespected my family. She'd say I was a loser and people that do that work are beneath her. She'd literally say shit like that. That's why we broke up. That and the cheating. But when I hear people that make these videos, all I can think to myself is, you don't have it harder than anybody else. In my eyes and in my mind,
Call
you don't
from
deserve success more than anybody else. I've never thought people going after school for
Hello?
Yeah, I'm eating some cat turds. Hold on.
stupid ass degrees were better than me. Nobody did. Nobody I went to school with did. Going back to what I said at the beginning, there was always a rift between the blue collar bastards, or like the everyday Joes, men and women alike, and the people around me that were going off to school with an elitist attitude, thinking that they were going to be some high and mighty king or queen. The real sadness you see in these people's eyes when they make these videos is the sadness that they have to work like everybody else at a normal job that's not pristine and paying buku bucks for minimal effort. That's what you're seeing in these sad women's eyes and these sad guys' eyes. Why was there ever such a war on like normal work? The only men I know today that are doing well are carpenters or people working with their hands. I know 2 barbers that cut hair for a living. They're working with their hands. They're doing great. Never went to college. I know multiple men, union carpenter, 24 years old, making $53 an hour. Badass truck he just bought. No problem paying his bills. Multiple union steam fitters making insane money. 25, 26, 27-year-old guys that I used to work with that are framers with just some private framing company doing incredible. I know a couple welders literally writing their own checks. You know how much money they make? And they all have the same story I have, because I actually contacted 2 of them before this video. And I've talked to the others in the last 6 months, and we've had these discussions. They had these same conversations I did with their peers in school. Stop acting like these people that went off to college are such victims. They're not victims. Most of these people have and always have had this attitude of being better than the normal people. I've said school's a scam from the beginning, for the most part, not always. Most of the people that are making these sad videos are like the kids that grew up in really wealthy families, whose parents grew up in wealthy families, and their parents' grew up in wealthy families. And the reason why they're making these sad videos, because to do a normal job that they have to do is below them. How dare you make me, stock shelves at the grocery store when I went to school for 4 years? Nobody gives a shit. Nobody told you to go to school to get a degree in, gay frogs. I don't know. What other stupid ass fucking degrees do you people get?
This is my issue here. I have a blue collar company. I've worked in blue collar. I've also worked in white collar. I've been a draftsman before. I've been a web developer before. The people that are this vitriolic toward white collar workers have never worked with them. To feel like you're constantly being judged by white collar workers is a boogeyman that exists inside your own head. I've never experienced this before. Even I've been a garbage man. I've been a web developer. I've been a draftsman. I've been a technician. Like, I've never, ever, ever had this experience or been treated this way by white collar workers. Even my clients who are filthy rich, white collar workers, have never treated me like I was lesser than.
I don't have the sympathy you people have, and that's going to make a lot of you mad. I don't give a shit. I've been nothing but disrespected my entire teenage and adult life by people that are very, very big into college, the college dream. You know how many hard days I've worked in my life? And I know some of you guys don't like hearing this. I don't give a shit. I'm very proud of the work I've done throughout my life. Swinging a hammer, hard days. You guys have any idea how many miserable, freezing cold mornings I've gone through? How many hot-ass days like today I've gone through? Not even crying about it. I'm, for the most part, very satisfied. I love what I do. I'm not afraid of physical labor. It feels very good. It's very satisfying. Never once did I look at those people and envy them. I never wanted to do that shit. I didn't want to sit in a fucking cubicle. I never did. Right. I expressed myself to these people.
Okay, if you never wanted to sit in a cubicle, what is the problem? You got your dream job. You're making your dream money. Why are you angry at people for making dumb choices? The other thing I don't like, I agree that a lot of college is pointless. Even if it's free, you're still going to spend 4 to 6 years of your life when you could be doing something more productive, depending on what you go to college for. But let's be honest. The majority of people do not go to college for underwater basket weaving. They don't go to college for the history of theater. That's just not what's happening. You're picking and choosing these few things and saying that's what everybody goes to college for, when it's just simply not the case.
people that ended up being miserable. I told them that was going to happen. And I didn't tell them in a mean way. I was actually very nice. They were the rude ones in my life's experience. They disrespected me. Anthony disrespected my father, who works his ass off and always did. Honest guy, being nice to everyone. Went through very hard times as a kid. As you guys know, with roofing or the trades in general, you have good weeks, good months, bad months, good years, bad years. It's not fucking easy, man. Being self-employed like I've been for...
Yeah, Lynette says, I call bullshit. He has no tan and his hands are soft. Nope, he did not work outside today anywhere. Yeah, this is a roofer who likely owns a roofing company. And he's talking about his dad. He's defending his dad. I would not be surprised if his dad handed him down a roofing company. So there's probably guys that work under him that could be making the same video about him, talking about he's essentially a trust fund baby because he had a business handed to him. Again, I could be wrong, but that happens in a lot of blue-collar instances. Like blue-collar businesses, like roofing, like landscaping, they don't typically scale and can be sold out and then everybody in the family can just retire. They get passed down through family because that's not something that's easily scalable and therefore something that's easily bought.
Call from. To accept, press 1.
Hello?
Hi, I was calling for the YouTube.
Yeah, you're live.
Thoughts. Yeah.
Chat, just let me know if you can hear the caller.
Tail end of it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, I was just telling the chat to let us know if they can hear you.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to figure out a way to. I'm very technologically incapable, so I was trying to watch chat and have the chat at the same time. But so I guess I'm trying to figure out what the actual question was, because the last guy shared similar viewpoints, but I feel like he wasn't capable enough to explain it, I guess. So
the last
his
guy
frustrations.
The guy that's on the video?
Yeah.
Okay, so what?
So instead of getting mad,
Right.
There's a lot of frustrations that go on, and that's where the temperament needs to come down on both sides, because I'm a conservative.
Okay.
And I see a lot of conservatives start raising their tempers, and I don't like that. And I don't like the left doing the either or.
Right.
Let's have a conversation. Let's just calm the conversation down.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that this whole
down and
the whole white collar versus blue collar thing, it's just an extension of in my opinion, it's not white collar versus blue collar. It's the owners, it's the asset holders versus the workers. That's what it's going to come down to.
Well, and I agree with that, because I'm a blue collar family. I'm from a farmer, grown up, towards generational farmers, and they gave opportunities. My father was in sales, and he made very good opportunity for himself, and then my grandfather, they were raised with 16 children on the farm, and then children went away, and he had all daughters. They couldn't help out with the farm.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I was the first grandson. So he sold all the animals and went into car sales, and they started leasing out all the land.
Right.
So
right. And what is the expectation for the daughters? Are the daughters supposed to go into roofing? Are all the daughters supposed to go and become electricians or plumbers?
No, the daughters are supposed to go into whatever they desire. So at that time, they went into like receptionists and things like that with like the county and the state, and they just started at that. But my grandfather raised very strong women, so then they became in and went into management, upper management, and things like that.
Right.
And they rocked it.
Right.
And then like my mother, prime example, she did 28 years with the county as being, I wouldn't call it a receptionist, but she was like a secretary for probate court. One day she did 28 years. She's like, you know what? I want to be a banker. So she quit that job. She got her 3/4 pension and then moved on, took 2 courses, and within 2 years she was vice president of the trust department at Citizens Bank.
Yep.
So it's like, it's not a men versus women. It's just men do different jobs, and it's just like my
Right.
grandpa
That's
and I
exactly.
had different jobs.
And what I'm trying to say is that, or the point that I was trying to make was that a lot of jobs that women do are white collar. They do require an education. And I'm sorry,
Absolutely.
you can argue that there's people who argue that, well, maybe women shouldn't be in the workforce. But the reality is that in a lot of places, you need 2 incomes. So if you want your woman to make a good income, she's going to have to go to college. And that's why more women are going to college. No, I don't know if that's why, but you see the correlation that there's now more women enrolling in college and getting a higher education. There's just less opportunities for them to. Sorry, go ahead.
That all goes back to that all goes back to the 19th Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a lot of women, when it comes to the sovereignty movement, there was like 2 different points of the sovereignty movements. There was the actual sovereignty movement, and then there was the radical sovereignty movement. And it was a lot of women didn't want to work and do things like that. They wanted to do things around the house and raise the kids and things like that and support their husbands. But then there was a radical movement that didn't want to do that. And I mean, they're entitled to that.
Right. They're entitled to their version of manifest destiny.
Exactly. But and who am I to say whatever? I have my own beliefs, as just as anybody else is to their own.
Right. And look, if you're a man and you want a stay-at-home woman, then go get one. Go get a career that can support a stay-at-home mom and go get one. I don't know, like there's this weird like if you're upset about it, you don't have to live in that world. You can choose
Absolutely.
not to have a working spouse.
Absolutely. And
just like you can choose not to go to college.
I would love, exactly. And I never went to college, and I had 2 kids, and I didn't go to college. And my wife one day came to me and was like, I am stressed out beyond belief. Like I want to quit my job. I was like, you know what? Give me 2 weeks and we'll figure it out. And okay, you can. And we made it work.
Yep.
So, and then all of a sudden she's like, well, I'm bored, and the kids are a little bit older, and now I'm bored, so I don't have the same responsibilities that I used to have, and so I was like, okay, so what do you want to do? She's like, well, I think I want to go back to work part-time. Like, that's up to you. I mean, she's like, okay, I think I want to go back to work part-time.
Yep.
Okay, go back to part-time. I support you no matter what, Like, all right, go for it. So, I mean, that was a process, and there was a lot of emotions on her side that involved in that, but that was also me trying to be flexible with my emotions, like dealing with all of that. But, we came to a compromise, and so she went to work part-time. And then that went on for a while, and, and that comes from a part, I don't have the hormones that she has, after having children, because
Sure.
I've never dealt with that. So, and then she ended up not going through that. And then once our children got a little bit older, then she started resenting me for that. And
Yeah, that sucks.
I don't know. I feel like I'm strong enough to take it. So,
Yes.
there was like a separation there. So we ended up getting separated, but we're still married, just living in different households. Like I go over there every single day and, take care of hang out. I wouldn't say take care of the kids, just hang out with
Right.
the kids and, do dinner and things like that. And,
But you guys
but
sorted that all out yourselves without having the government coming and getting involved?
absolutely.
Nice.
Because the government doesn't need to be involved in my
That's
house
good.
or in our house.
Right.
So it's like there's trials and tribulations, and that's the thing is like, that's where it made it a lot easier in the biblical era when a marriage didn't need a government to say that you were married. It was just both of you signed the back of your Bibles, and kind of went through and trust me, I'm one of the biggest sinners of all, but
Yep.
all it takes is just like unconditional love and care and the want and need that your children are better than you one day. That's all that really matters.
And I do wonder if the government getting involved in marriage is more of like a vestigial organ of the fact that families used to be larger, and
Yeah,
it really mattered.
100%.
It really mattered that kids got taken care of by their parents if their parents had a divorce. But now the government has gotten so involved with helping take care of people's kids and where was I going with that? Helping take care of people's kids, and the government has gotten involved with like removing kids from homes. In a lot of cases, rightfully so. I mean, there's a lot of abusive families, but that's a failure of the family.
That's what happens
If your brother, if you know your sibling is abusing his children, and you're not stepping in and you're not saying something, if your family is not getting together and saying, we're going over to Jason's, we're going to give him an ultimatum, we're going to talk to him about these problems, and that's what would happen in the early 19 and 1800s. This stuff was settled by the family. But now, you would call... Go ahead.
Sorry, finish your statement. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying now everyone is so unplugged from what's going on in their own families that they'll just stand by and watch as their extended family, their siblings or their cousins or aunts or anybody, they'll all just talk shit behind their back saying, oh, aren't they awful? I can't believe they do this. But then they don't ever even confront them about it. And then the state comes in and the state takes away the children. Then the children get put with foster homes and parents. And now, of course, the government's going to get involved with marriage because there's so many failed families. But it's almost a chicken and the egg type thing. It's like once they start, they can't stop because then it's just now we have people relying on the government and expecting help from the government.
And that's true. So back in like my great grandpa era, they had 12 kids in the family. And they took care of the farm, and obviously medical stuff wasn't as evolved, so they ended up losing a lot of kids due to sickness and, and then my grandpa was one of 16, and it was the same way, you know, he lost like 2 brothers
Jeez.
to like flu, one to, I don't know, different sicknesses, and then all of a sudden they started branching out. So like to lower Michigan, like upper Indiana, upper Ohio, and things like that. But they had these big families because they needed the big families to take care of the farm, because we have a big family farm, you know, and we don't have they didn't have the giant John Deeres and like big old tractors like they used to, you know. So
Yeah.
it's like they'd wake up and it was breakfast, like oatmeal, raisin, toast, and, you know, my grandma and the girls would wake up and serve the men, because they knew the men would be like out in the fields like all day. And then all of a sudden my grandma would ring that giant bell, ding, 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 and farming would stop. All the boys would come rushing in, because the girls would be in the house, you know, and like not in the house, but like, you know, when I say in the house, I mean like a giant area, you know, like the house was small,
Right.
you know, but they were like gardening, they were like doing the gardening stuff. There's a lot of different chores going on, you know. Then all of a sudden the boys come over or come back in. I remember my grandma always saying, take your goddamn shoes off and drop your pants if you're muddy, you know. And my grandma would always have like overalls for us, you know, and we come in and then we'd sit at the table, we'd say grace, and
Hey, one moment, just a second. Hey, George in the chat, if you want to call in, just tell me what the last 4 digits of your phone number are so I can answer. All right, sorry. We're
then
gonna
we would do that.
we're gonna wrap up in like 30 seconds. I've got 5 missed calls now. Really appreciate the call. We go live about every other night, so call in again for sure. This was actually my fault because you were on topic, and then I kind of reared us off the tracks a little bit. So I'm sorry about that. So,
well, I just want to finish it off.
Yeah,
like,
go ahead.
Then come in, and it's like everybody played their part, and it was like perfect, you know. And we have such a great family, like still to this day. So it's like, you know, like politics are just fucking politics.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about family and unity, and that's all it really means. You know,
for
just,
sure.
Just love your family, love your cousins, and just have patience with everybody. You know.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Totally agree.
But I appreciate you taking my phone call.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you calling in. We'll talk to you in the next one. Okay.
All right.
All
right. See ya.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you, chat.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to read the, let's see. There was a comment here that I wanted to read real quick before I started the video. Let's see. George, you had said that you started college at 40. Did you actually go to, was it online or did you actually go to the college and attend classes? I'd be interesting to have that. I'd be interested to hear about that. Jake Day, I jumped out of bed to join his conversation, but you guys go at it. I've enjoyed it. Thanks so much. I'll catch you on the next video. All right, yeah. Thanks for watching, George.
And for a long time, it's not easy.
I'm gonna go back just like 30
my father's
seconds.
fucking cubicle. I never did. I expressed myself to these people that ended up being miserable. I told them that was going to happen. And I didn't tell them in a mean way. I was actually very nice. They were the rude ones in my life's experience. They disrespected me. Anthony disrespected my father, who works his ass off and always did. Honest guy, being nice to everyone. went through very hard times as a kid. As you guys know, with roofing or the trades in general, you have good weeks, good months, bad months, good years, bad years. It's not fucking easy, man. Being self-employed like I've been for a long time, it's not easy. It's very stressful. It's very scary. You fall on your face all the time. It's one headache after another. That's why most people don't do it. It's hard. But the reason why lunatics like me do it is because you get, for one, you don't have people breathing over your shoulder telling you what to do, when to do it. But there's a sense of satisfaction in being able to say that you built something and you did something. Whether you do it self-employed like me or you work for another company, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't feel sorry for these people. I feel more sorry for the people that do normal jobs and get looked down upon by all these jackasses in our society now. I don't have any sympathy for these people. I want to say shut the hell up and get a job like everybody else. I saw a woman in the video crying because I thought I would have a big house by now. So did a lot of people. Yeah, it sucks. I'll feel sorry for you to a certain degree, but I'm not gonna feel bad for those tears of entitlement. I don't think you're better than me because you went off to school to get some bullshit degree. You're a fucking idiot. You knew the debt you were getting into. You're a fucking idiot. I'm a little bit worked up, but I had to get this video off my chest. And again, I know a lot of you aren't going to like it. So be it. There's the door. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. Anyways, just worked my ass off today. Hot day, July, sweating my ass off. Just got off work, charging my phone. Gonna get a shower, change, and head to the gym and get right back to work. Bust my ass in the gym for 2 hours, maybe longer. Because I want to. It feels good. So again, the message here, no matter who you are, you're not above normal hard work. It might do you good to work a very physical job or just a grueling job in general. You know, humans tend to get satisfaction from things that are hard.
Do you know what sounds grueling, but also is normal and hard work? Accounting. My God. Anything to do with paperwork, I will gladly pay somebody else to do. That is mentally and physically taxing. I would rather hang shingles any day than have to deal with the bullshit paperwork that a lot of white collar people have to deal with.
They're hard. Try it sometime. Might change your life.
I missed a call because I had it on like do not disturb. I'm gonna try calling you the 3507 number.
I'm sorry, you can't leave a message because...
All right, yeah. So here's the thing. I understand what he's saying, and I get I get it. But why? There's no reason to be angry, and there's no reason to blame people who are white collar. I mean, they're not your enemy. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me that you're going to get upset that people went to college, or you feel that they're looking down on you, when maybe 5% max of them do look down on you. But weren't you the one that was just looking down on your buddy who works at Costco? There was another video that I saw earlier today.
When I've been creating the idea or thinking about the idea for this video, but I don't have a script that I'm following or anything like that. What I've been noticing over the last several years, and in particular in the last year or so, and it's actually been ramping up, and it's not just the job market is bad and all that kind of stuff, which obviously that plays a big role in it. But I think it's more existential than that. I think it comes down to a fundamental core human level of what it means to exist, especially in today's world with everything that's going on, both geopolitically, of course, that trickles into the job market. And I think that there is a level of disenfranchisement, if that's even a word, that I've not seen before. Now, I've always been somebody who has kind of been, I'd say, a little negative toward careers and about the corporate world. And I decided when I started this channel several years ago that I wanted to try to make a difference. That my
All right, so the video is on. This guy is hold on, let's take this call and then I'll explain what this video.
Call from
Fucking justice.
to accept.
All right, you there?
Hey, hello. This is the guy that was just on fucking YouTube.
Yes.
Oh, God fucking bless you. How you doing? So, any fucking thoughts, correct?
Anything that's
like,
not...
what do you want me to generally talk about?
Well, tonight's topic is the future of jobs, white collar, blue collar.
Oh,
AI.
okay. All right. Do you mind if I introduce my fucking self?
Yes. Or no, I don't mind. Go ahead.
That's fucking all right. I understand. Hi. I just like to be called fucking Justice, but I claim to be the fucking Antichrist, the fucking Lord Jesus Christ. I've been convincing my town where I'm from, my city, that I am
you're
the Lord.
You're a repeat caller. You were like two.
Oh, am I? Yeah. Well, I
ago.
changed how I fucking did things. I wanted to help you out.
No, you got to change your voice up a little bit.
You know, everything, because obviously, you know, I hate fucking evil, and I hate,
I know that.
how people.
I know that.
Oh, yeah. So you want, okay, so the job.
So what have you been doing the last 2 days? What have you been doing the last 3 days?
Praying with the fucking Holy Spirit, how to reach people, because I got fucking angry, you know.
Yeah, you're adding more
last time, and I feel sorry.
You weren't swearing as much last time,
buddy.
Did somebody cross you? Did somebody cross you the last 3 days?
What was that?
Well, you're using the F word more than you did last time.
Oh, yeah, I figure it'd be a lot fucking easier to just, I don't know. I mean, I feel more civil and calm and not fucking angry. Yeah, you know, because just all the fucking evil out there. You know, I had to deal with it. You can only pick. You have to understand.
You can only pick one thing to get rid of that's evil. I give you one thing, and then I'm going to give you 2 minutes on the call to rant about that thing that is the most evil, because I do enjoy your rants.
Oh God! And you're putting me under fucking pressure. Good, you know what?
No,
good.
you. Okay,
You're doing fucking good, man. No,
okay.
Praise you. Good job. You know, all right.
Mr. Cuddlesworth says that this is a free therapy session. From the chat.
Thank you. Because last time I was like, I'm going to fucking kill you if you fucking, without the fucking part. You know, it's just, all right, so 2 minutes win.
2 minute, wait, okay. Once we come up with the topic, but for now, I will say that you are a comedic relief. At least you were the last time. So next time you call in,
me like a fucking meth head and
next
shit
time
like
you
that.
call
I was
in,
like,
oh yeah, I know. Next time you call in, I want you to have like some written jokes out ready to go.
About protecting the fucking children.
I know that was the last time. It was the children. So what are we ranting about this time?
So, well, it'd be the same fucking thing.
Actually, I want to know your position on the Epstein. Have you been following the Epstein issue?
Oh,
I know. That's how I felt.
Yes and fucking no, because I don't fucking fill my head with
stupid shit,
disgustingness, because it pisses me off. So I talk about fucking protecting the children and the innocent, but I don't want to see anybody, hurting the children and the innocent. That just, as you saw, as you experienced last time, my fucking anger just going out of control, because I want, all I do, I care about people, and I care about fucking God, and I think it's just anger at other, not you specifically, but just other people, and just trying to fucking make sense of everything.
You think Steve Bannon and Trump are on the Epstein list?
Yeah, I do. There's I just like to fucking say that I am going to have to possibly fucking stop you if you go too far, just for the fucking safety of everybody. You know what I mean?
It sounds like you're on the list.
You know, I hate people fucking hurting the children and the innocent, but you know, yes. So yes, that is absolutely disgusting what's going on.
Yeah.
Everybody knew what was going on there.
Yeah.
It's not being fucking talked about. It's not being transparent. It's not being, you know, no. It's just a big fucking game as always, and it's just aggravating to fucking watch it because you're just like simply fucking looking at it and you're like, this is not what we want for transparency when we're trying to fucking protect the children and the innocent.
Sure.
So, yes, but I believe it's very disgusting. There are things going on, and there are multiple factors that people don't fucking see that I do know, but I cannot say. But I'm just fucking asking the world, why are we, you know, sort of fucking letting this go on?
Yeah.
Why are we not engaging as a fucking society, as a fucking brotherhood, which I'm starting, by the way, called the fucking brotherhood.
I don't know about that.
We not... Oh, I just started it. I figured it'd be a lot easier.
I don't know, but you might get a different type of people showing up to that one.
Oh no! Yes, then the fucking brotherhood will fucking. Well,
unless that's what you're going for.
Well, then, you know, they get angry. Don't fuck with the brotherhood because the brotherhood will fuck you.
Maybe you'll have David Archuleta show up and do some solos for you.
Well, I don't know who that is. I plan on getting on the fucking internet here soon, obviously, but, you know, yeah. So any other questions about, like, you know, like the Epstein thing?
Okay. Call into another show. I derailed. I stole your 2 minutes because I wanted to hear
guys.
Yes, God bless you. Thanks for calling in. Good to hear from you.
All right, have a nice fucking day.
You too. Bye.
Call from.
This is Scott again.
Hey, Scott. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
I was just listening to this and I'm just like, oh, man, I thought I was I love conspiracies, but I like to actually get information and dig deep. And the person that's talking is just fucking cracking my mind right now.
The Antichrist?
Yeah.
No,
definitely not the Antichrist.
He was I think he preemptively called angry. He typically doesn't swear that much.
No, that was me that was swearing that, but this person is just ridiculous.
All right, I'm gonna give him your number. No, I'm just kidding. you guys can duke it out on another line. I wonder if I can take two callers at once. That'd be kind of funny.
Hey, is this Scott again?
Huh?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, put that other person on the line with me. And
I don't know if I can. I haven't tried it.
Oh, okay.
That would be funny though.
They just sounded so fucking stupid.
Nah, they're maybe, I don't know. To me, they're funny. They're fun.
But at the same, it is. But at the same time, I like to make people feel stupid, like being rational about things. So, I mean, that's
the
more
comedic relief
than anything. So.
Comedic relief to break up the show a bit.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm gonna figure out how to take two calls at once.
All right.
And then next time I'm live, or just message in the comments and ask if I figured out how to get two callers at once.
Okay.
I don't want to troubleshoot while live. But yeah, I have thought, wouldn't it be kind of funny if we could get two people to debate?
No, you don't have to troubleshoot while live. Just, put us on together and just ask us a question, and I'll just ask rational questions and watch them blow up.
The The Antichrist says he
I'll
can
be
call.
rational without like. I mean, I might occasionally like accidentally swear, but just be like not in anger or anything like that. So.
Oh yeah, I don't expect these live shows to stay monetized for long. It's pretty much get large enough to get super chats to make it even worth, but at the end of the day, I just enjoy talking to people anyways. So I've had people tell me don't do live calls because everything's going to get demonetized. And I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's way more enjoyable for me and it's going to be enjoyable for the audience because I hate to,
Absolutely.
just listening to the same person over and over again. One, they're going to run out of things to say and they're just not going to be entertaining. And so people aren't going to stick around if you're just hearing the same thoughts over and over and over again. So
that's why I was like, dude, don't call back. But then I listened to that person talk and I was just like, oh my God, I got to call back. So,
yeah.
No, but I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. I just don't want to hear when I'm editing a video, the thing I hate the most is just hearing my own opinion over and over again. It's like, I know. So, yeah, but I enjoy these.
But you don't also want, like, just to be complete argument, So.
Yeah. If we're not going anywhere, if we're arguing, but it's entertaining and it's either entertaining or informative, then I'm cool with that. But if we're just like going back in circles and we're not adding anything to the conversation, and the audience is dropping off, and they're just like, "This is boring," then there's no point to continue at that point.
Totally agree because your whole goal is to get the audience up. So. No, I totally agree with that.
All right.
So, well, I appreciate you taking my phone call. And if you take my email, it's Scott Kenroy.
Are you sure you want to do it live? Hold on. Do you sure you want to say your email live, or you just want to send me a message?
I don't want to share my email live. No.
Yeah. So you can actually message that phone number. You can just send a text. You can send a text message to it.
But I'll have a conversation live, but not. I just don't want to show my face or like, and then I just want to be respectful and just kind of, I guess, throw rationality.
Yeah, send me a message to that same phone number with your email in it. That's fine. Or we can message back and forth.
Okay. Yeah, number. Either that or my phone. So you have my phone number?
Yeah, I have your phone number.
Okay, yeah, or do it just through my phone number.
I'm going to message you right now.
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
And then, what are you thinking, like tomorrow or?
Yeah, sure. I'll just let you know when I'm going to go live again and what the topic is.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I really, this is the first day that I, like, saw you guys, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. All right. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good one, Scott.
All right. Bye.
That my purpose was to try to give people the tools to start navigating through careers with more authority and conviction. And I've talked about that ad nauseum on this channel. Now, I've had a lot of ups and downs in my career, just like everybody else. Certainly have made my fair share of mistakes. In fact, a lot of the stuff that I get from my...
Call from
Ben.
To accept, press 1.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, thanks for being patient.
Hey, I was watching your live stream. You're talking about AI affecting white-collar work.
Yes.
So what position on specifically? Because I remember you talking about accounting specifically. What specific part about AI taking work are you touching on?
Well, video editing is one thing for sure, but also just like music production, that's very quickly gone. And then just services, accounting being one, but also, and AI is used way too liberally as far as just any computer program now is somehow considered AI, even if it's just running some few basic functions in the background. It's like magically marketed as AI. And that is part of that is not the consumer's fault. That is the company's faults because they're describing things as AI when they're just offering a new service, right? Like, so,
Yeah.
and I do think that I don't think that jobs are going to be replaced in like 2 years. I don't think that's going to happen. There's also this other question that I've kind of wondered about and I've kind of thought about where the people from the All In podcast, they'll say, oh, this is going to make every single engineer a 10x engineer. Why would the products and services that they produce not then be 10x? Because these companies are constantly producing more services and stuff that they can sell. Why is it their services just wouldn't get better and they would still have the same amount of employees? So I still haven't quite figured out or worked that thought out.
I mean, I'm working as a mechanical engineer right now. I'm currently interning right now. We're talking about AI and stuff as well, but I mean, to the point of media, like a lot of people have been disliking a lot of the AI things going on. Like you can tell an AI video pretty fast, and it's just pretty much spam at that point where there's just so many AI videos that people want to actually see some real editing. People want to see someone put effort into a video that's human, you know? So I think that's fine. With engineering, I feel like that will always come back to human. With accounting, that will always come back to human as well. Because as much as we want to rely on a robot to basically do everything we would like it to have, the human aspect watches out for those parts specifically. We'll never have a real benefit from AI besides getting more information faster. As an engineer, we can look up equations faster. We can ask certain questions, but most of that stuff is wrong, and it gets some stuff pretty right, general information, but you can't really rely on mass equation. You have to do that all by hand. It can give you the basic equation to work on it, but you need to work it out yourself because it's taking general information online, trying to put it together, and it just keeps on giving you something that follows it, but doesn't do the numbers right, from what I've noticed.
Yeah, I agree. And when I did drafting, the drafting services, they're like ArchiCAD, SketchUp, they're offering some AI type features. Well, they will render something out that looks, say you have a mountain home that you've designed and say, actually, I want you to make this more modernistic. It'll just do a render of a more modern version of that home, but it's not going to create sections. It's not going to create elevations. It's not going to create the appropriate dimensions for, and then pump out a bunch of actual usable plans.
It gives you a general spec. It gives you an idea of what it could look like, and then the inside, it will always mess up because it will be putting dimensions that don't make sense. It will be trying to make the most of space. It goes off of what it sees online, and I don't think it would really be enough to ever get to the point, especially at this point, because the humanistic aspect of like design, especially if we're talking about like architectural design, the human aspect of it is like you don't want a tiny room. You want to have enough space to have a desk. You want to have enough space to have a bed in that room. And AI just will never understand that, and AI will just try and fill in what it sees online and just creates filling that space. I mean, I don't think it will ever take away white-collar work or especially blue-collar work, especially with your title is blue-collar work is the next learn to code. I definitely agree with that 100% with all these trade schools now, because I came from a high school that was very harping on going to college. It was work really hard, build your resume, do your things, and your whole main goal is to go to college and get your degree. But so many of my friends have gone to trade schools and have been very successful in what they've been doing. They've been getting paid pretty high wages. They've been working construction gigs, a bunch of different gigs. And AI, as much as it's a scary thing for a lot of people, I mean, it's nothing to be afraid of more than anything. It's just something that can give you a general idea, and we can use it as that. if we use it as a general idea, we'll be just fine as a population. We'll find ways to have an idea how to design around something. We have this idea of a house, and then we can fill it in with our human aspect, where we could say, we want this room to be this, we want this room to be this. Hey, this size doesn't make sense. Let's change these dimensions a little bit. But
Right.
I definitely agree with what your title says. Blue collar work is the next learn to code, because that is the future, because we need people on the ground always. And those people become more and more valuable with this new technology increasing, with people working on making this idea stronger and better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And so I should have mentioned this or brought this point up when we were watching the first video. Everyone is telling their student, not everyone, but there's this.
No, you mean, yeah, the general population.
Yeah, there's this general sentiment of go be a plumber, go be an electrician. Now, if I'm a plumber, I'm not recommending people go be plumbers. Because if everybody's going to plumbing school, do you really think you're going to be making 7 figures in 10 years? If you have an influx of a bunch of people going and becoming plumbers because they decided not to do white collar work, do you really think you're going to be able to make a good living being a roofer if you've convinced an entire generation that they should go into the trades and become a roofer? If you're going to go into the trades, and I actually commented on that video that we'd watched, if you're going to go in the trades, make sure that it is highly skilled and something that's going to be, it's something that can be protected in the trades. Not these low-hanging fruit, go and become, because you're not going to make 7 figures being a landscaper unless you own the company. But then it comes back to the haves and haves not. It comes back to whether or not you're an asset holder. You're not going to make good money actually laying shingles unless you own that company. You can make okay money, but you're not going to be making what web developers were making when they were making like 200K, 300, 400K, when they were saying everybody should go and learn to code.
No, yeah, it's just a pendulum. It's a pendulum swing, especially where there's an influx of blue-collar workers who are doing the plumbing jobs, the jobs as you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. That's exactly what I'm worried about. Like everybody, suddenly there's 10 times as many people going into welding. Well, it was a good paying job.
I hear that. Yeah, there's always a high demand for welders, especially in certain places, and skilled welders. It comes down to how much a person works. If a person dedicates themselves and really cares about what they're working on, and it shows. I mean, a lot of companies do rankings based on like how well a person can weld. And if you really dedicate yourself to it, you can be very successful in that. The whole point of it all is if you dedicate yourself and believe in it, and you believe in what you're doing, you'll do wonders. If you keep pushing yourself to be a better welder and you just keep on trying to improve upon instead of saying, this is my baseline, this is what I do, it'll be fun. It's like what my professor once told me, and it was very good information. I thought that Amazon was taking down small business, and I agreed for a while that Amazon was taking down small business. A lot of small businesses were not doing well because Amazon gave you the same product for cheaper, but it pushed other business owners to work harder, to deliver a better price, to not gouge on prices. And I mean, I don't agree with Amazon. I don't agree with what they're doing now, but to that point, it was definitely an interesting thought to say, hey, like, it gives a challenge. And for the people who really will be ready for that challenge, that's where the people will succeed. The people who are just coming into this trade thinking all willy-nilly, I'll just do the baseline, I can just do what I do and be fine. No, it's not fine. To better all of us, to better what's going on, is put your best work in, improve upon it, learn, be ready to learn, and just grow from that. AI could never do that. AI takes general information on that top of that and will just give you the general specs. Like as we talk about the architecture, we'll just give you general specs. But a person who is dedicated to their work in blue collar, and even though with the influx, someone who really believes in what they're doing,
and being a craftsman, because there'll be people who can make custom furniture for the rich. Like they're gonna do all right.
Oh no, yeah, they believe in their craft. They work so hard on this coffee table. You see just the effort into it, and you can just tell that this person really believed and loved what they did. It shows in their work. Their work kind of shows them.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've got Mikey really wanting to call in. I'm thinking he's going to lecture me. So,
well, good luck, my
which
man.
will be,
I appreciate you taking my call.
Yeah, so I'm about to get spanked here. Yeah, thank you for calling in, and we'll talk to you later, okay? Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Have an amazing night. All right.
Hey, Mikey, what's... Bye. Oh, sorry. Mikey, what's the last 4 digits? Are you the 6066? Not at all. Actually, there was a couple comments I wanted to read here. Let's see. Brian Watson says, the same way the guys who took care of horseshoes disappeared overnight, we're in for a rude awakening. They'd never replace the jobs because they don't want you to have time to think. Noah M says, I worked as a claims adjuster for a large car insurance company, and they already started to introduce AI to their call centers before I left. Yeah, I heard about that on another show. They were talking about, I think it was for real estate. Or was it real estate? I think it was insurance, like home insurance or something, like calling in claims. And the guy who had tested it said he couldn't tell the difference between a human and the AI. They're trying to replace us in the white collar field now. Yeah. Let's see. Brian Watson also says, I've vibe coded scripts to play games for me. I have no background in coding. Sure, it wasn't correct on the first go, but troubleshooting is a thing, and I can't imagine how long it wouldn't be. Yeah, when I had an electronics repair company, I absolutely loved troubleshooting and fixing phones, tablets. There was nothing more gratifying than taking something that had been completely water damaged, all rusty on the inside, and getting that to work. Opening it up, completely tearing it apart, cleaning it off, taking the toothbrush, cleaning all the connectors, taking off, welding on new parts, and then boom, that thing starts up. Most gratifying. Never have had that experience with anything else I've ever done. Electronic repair, very satisfying. H2O says, tolerance is the hardest part in robotics when it comes to building welding jigs and the maintenance costs, and there's no repair AI. Yeah. Get me when I break my PC. All right.
My channel content comes from my own personal experience and or people that I actually know. But when I first started this channel, I did feel there's always been this negativity towards recruiters, towards human resources, towards corporations. And I get that. That comes with the kind of par for the course. And for the viewing audience, people who are watching this is a face that you can actually see to a nameless title, a recruiter, etc. So it's easy to beat up on me because I'm actually putting myself out there. Even though obviously I'm not the person who's rejecting you. I'm not the person who's going and doing all this recruiting. Right now, I'm actually not actively recruiting. I am focusing on this and some other business ventures. But up until pretty recently, I was a recruiter, an active recruiter doing active recruiting for a lot of different industries and a lot of different companies. And so...
My bad, Mikey. I forgot to turn off Do Not Disturb. You should be able to come through now.
I understand when people throw vitriol at me. It's kind of just par for the course. And generally, it doesn't really bother me all that much. And I would say that sentiment has always...
All right, here we go.
Call from
Mikey.
To accept.
I am totally accepting that. Hey, Mikey, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, hold on. Let me get my gloves.
There's no need for that, brother. There's no need for that.
Okay. What do you got for us?
So,
I work for a very large tech company that has been in AI longer than anyone, and I sell it for a living. That's my job.
For now.
I'll be for now. Correct. Actually, you
Don't
know
sell
what?
too much.
To be honest with you, the way I see it is the last job that could exist would be selling AI. So
yeah,
I'll take it. You know what I mean?
True. That's a good point.
But I'm on that aspect of.
It's funny you say that. Sorry, and we'll go longer if we need to. But it's funny you say that because just earlier today, like in the middle of the afternoon, I was thinking about my buddies who sell solar, and I had that exact thought where I was like, man, there's no way that you're going to have robots going door to door and knocking doors, because you can send mailers to a house. You can cold call homes and try and sell solar. But the reason you have door-to-door salesmen go door-to-door is because there's a human standing right in front of you and talking to you and convincing you to do a thing. Nobody ever answers the door for a solar sales rep and goes, "Oh my God, finally you're here. I've been waiting for months for you, wondering when the solar sales rep was going to come by."
It's a very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
So
no, I
100%
agree with you.
They'll be good for a while.
No, and the problem is that the reason that solar goes door to door is because they want to find those people that don't have, I don't know, AI at their fingertips to find out whether this is a good deal or not. So, and what I sell and it's not what I sell, it's what's the reality at this moment, at this point in time, is we're augmenting jobs. We're not replacing them. Right. And again, it will replace jobs. So the sales pitch is quote unquote a lie, but at the same time, it's not. To those people that know how to utilize that have a good head on their shoulders and know what they're doing, AI will 100% augment their job. To those people that don't, to those NPCs of the world, to those people that have no idea what they're doing and they just click through life scrolling on their phones, it's going to take your job. It's going to be the rise of the
they took our jobs.
It's going to be we're taking the top off. It's survival of the fittest, to be honest with you.
Sure.
Because there are a lot of jobs out there that don't need to rely on a human, that could be done by AI. However, there are a ton and thousands upon thousands of jobs out there that no, it needs a human behind it. Now, will AI augment their position? 100%. Meaning they won't need the 7 people in line from them, but the auditor or the CPA, because everything will be mathematically sound.
Right.
But yes, a human will need to. I make up words, by the way. A human will need to be behind it to augment.
As long as we understand what you're saying, that's fine.
Right. A human will need to be behind it to augment certain things. So as long as you choose a career path that does that, and the blue collars are 100% one of those. All day long, I would rather my kids choose to go be a pipe welder over anything else. I don't care if a computer can do it better. I don't care if they can set up a jig with AI on it that runs a better weld pattern. I'm going to tell you right now, Steve and Bob's repair shop in East Texas isn't going to build one of those or have one of those. They're going to need to hire one of those. Yeah. So the blue collar jobs are really the safest bet right now. And telling people the more you go into it, the more we're going to sell ourselves out of it. No, there's no way. I look up plumbers right now. There's 5. You know what I mean? Like
we do have a ways to go,
there's room enough.
Right. But they are being acquired by larger companies, especially HVAC companies. HVAC companies are just gobbling up all the smaller ones. And you have
because that's like a tinting company. It's printing money. HVAC is printing money. Yeah. These guys, if you know an HVAC system, and really I don't, but I am smart enough to look it up. And when mine broke, I looked it up. Yeah. It's not very hard to fix. The thing is you can sell someone on you need a new one, then you get yourself a job.
Mikey, I have a question.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a question. Actually, the chat has a question. And Zayners says that he feels like the lockdowns is what sped this whole process up. And I'm going to give my 2 cents real quick on that. Is I do think there is something to that when workers were saying we can all just work from home. We don't have to go into the office. We don't need to be face to face. And during that same time period, these LLMs popped up out of nowhere and AI popped up out of nowhere, right? So I do find that correlation pretty interesting because with my employees, I would never want to replace my employees because my employees are my friends. My employees are part of my life. I want my employees, as my business grows, I want my employees to continue to make more money. I want my employees to be more committed to the business. And I have no interest in just not associating with anybody when I wake up in the day, just checking the value or whatever, how much money has come in, but having no employees because they're part of my life. Hold on, let me.
I wish we were FaceTiming. I wish we were FaceTiming because I could show you the goosebumps on my arm because that's not AI. That nothing can replace that because, sir, that is integrity, right? That's a business owner. That's knowing that you don't make it. It's not where you get to, it's who you take along for the journey, right? It's not the millions you make, it's the families you support making them.
Right. It's integrity, but it's integrity, but it's also selfish. It's an ego thing. It's selfish. It's an ego thing.
Yeah.
It's not me saying that I'm sacrificing myself, but I actually like the fact that there are people that rely on me, that look up to me, that have questions for me every day, that give me purpose.
And why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Right.
And
now,
if those
you
same
could
employees were
augment
telling
them
me they don't want
to
to see
make
my
your
face
business,
because they don't want to come into work because they'd rather work from home.
oh no,
then I'm going to say, okay, I'm just going to automate the process then.
see you later. No, exactly. Yeah. No. We are 100% in agreement there. 100%. I own multiple companies. I have in the past. I work for a very large tech company now.
You know exactly what I'm talking about then.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And I'm one of those people, back in 2008, 2009, I'm going to show my age. I rode my company into the ground just paying salaries because I would rather pay them off than claim to them, then take any profits myself and say, hey, we're screwed. We're done. We went into bankruptcy. That's what you have is called integrity. That is different from, you're right. AI can never have that. Well, we can teach it. So that's the great thing about these models. It's not, everybody thinks AI is chat GPT. It's not. AI is machine learning. AI is, we teach it what it wants to be. So when we think, oh, it's going to just scrub the web to get, no, the company that I sell for, that's not what our models are. Our models are strictly what you want it to be. If you want it to be scrubbing the web, we can make it. If you want it to scrub only internal materials, we can make that too. Which means your law firm that you're paying as a corporation, you don't need to pay that much because the retainers don't need to be that high because you can check everything against your internal, everything you've already built, your internal, these are all IPs that you've already developed, and we can make an LLM against that to allow your company to check against itself. So really, we're working for the person, we're working for the man, we're working for the individual that built that LLM that wants their company to succeed without having to pay those outsources. You know what I mean? So it's a complete opposite of what people see. The general public see chat, they see the other big groks, they see everything else that's out there that only scrubs the web. They don't see those huge privately companies that have LLMs out there that are doing the best for the company, that are amazing for hospitals, that are developing cancer cures before we can even think about them.
Right.
That's what AI does for a company. When you stop looking at it as a chat and it's going to replace my job because I can't think for myself, that's when it becomes an augmenter. Those people that can't think for themselves, I'm sorry, the survival of the fittest start thinking for yourself or start utilizing AI to think for you. One of the two.
Sure. And I mean, you would agree that we can't all be prompt engineers. I think that there is at a certain point, let's say that it's true that AI consumes 50% of jobs and those jobs aren't replaced. And so you have an unemployment rate of 50%. Just assume it, right? I don't believe this is going to happen.
All right. Agreed. Okay, but we'll assume.
This is what people are panicking about, that there's going to be a second Great Depression. Now, I also don't think
from
that there's
someone
going to be
who
a Great
worked
Depression.
in the companies that make it, there's no way. Anyways, let's assume, let's play along.
And yeah, let's play along. Great Depression. I don't know if I talked about this in another video or not, but when the Great Depression happened, we didn't even have the interstate highways. The infrastructure that we have now as a society, we have 2 to 3 cars per household. We have larger homes. We all have more assets. We all have way more wealth than we did during the Great Depression. Remember, the Great Depression was we don't have food to eat.
Yep.
And
but why? You know why though, right?
What's that?
Why did we not have food to eat in the Great Depression? Do we know why? As long as history is correct, as long as we all understand that it was because of the move to the West, forced move to the West, and from the agriculture of improper lands, that we created a dust storm within ourselves because we forced it, that it worked its way back towards the Midwest, and that the stock markets crashed in Chicago because it was a commodity market back then in Chicago. There was no stocks in Chicago, which forced a stock crash in New York because the commodities collapsed. So as long as we understand that we caused the Great Depression and that AI won't allow us to do that, that's what so when people say, oh, we're going to lose all these blue collar jobs, no, we're not. In fact, I can tell you right now that AI will point out all the places that we need more people in because we don't have enough. I can tell you right now how many people fly on an airline and are happy. I can tell you that could take more people. Can AI augment the ticketing and the purchasing of that? Yeah. Allowing them to shift more people to the customer experience? 100%.
Yeah, as long as...
The question is the company's willing to do it?
Yeah, and is the company willing to actually make things more cost effective and therefore lower the prices and then lower, like their cost could be less. But if they're just going to continue to take more, keep the prices as high as they are so nobody... See, and this is the thing though. This is like supply and demand issue. If you don't have customers, you can't charge an arm and a leg. And so...
So
go ahead.
You're right. AI is going to cause a pretty big crash in a couple areas. It's not going to be big around the nation. Like it's not going to be a huge everyone's out of work, but there are going to be a lot of people going, well, what the fuck am I paying for? Sorry for the language. Well, what the heck am I paying for?
Yeah, we've that's only like the 90th F word so far on the live stream.
I know.
We're trying to break 100. You're good. Well, dang, I lost my thought. Go ahead.
Like I was saying, there's going to be a lot of people that it gets to the point where, well, what am I paying for if a human's doing this? And the company owners are going to say the same thing. Well, what am I? Because the company owners, it's not like they don't have to just pay that employee. Let's say they're in California and they're a fast food worker. They're not just $15 an hour, right? That's not what they cost. I have to pay unemployment insurance. Not only that, I have to pay for their health care. Not only that, I have to pay for their insurance against unemployment insurance because I have to pay a deductible against what might happen if they quit. Like there's 17 other layers that I have to pay as a employer in California as opposed to. So when they say, hey, it's going to be $15 for a fast food worker, I guarantee you that I'm selling a lot in California to fast food companies. And I'm telling you right now that a lot of them are switching to AI because why would I pay someone $15 an hour when I can just customize it into a machine?
Yeah.
And I don't ever have to pay them again.
Yeah. Or just, AI, automated services, self-checkout, all that stuff. I think I said this 10 years ago. I want to own a McDonald's that I can fully operate a full day with just myself. And as soon as those kiosks started coming out, I sent a picture, like the very first news article of it was, I just did this, like, I told you so. This is the direction they're going to be going. And I mean, look at the McDonald's stock; it's just continued to go up because,
but the only reason we're going that way is because of the public, because the public is asking for it. It's not because we're not screaming we want AI, but because of the lawsuits, because of the you didn't do this right, because of the videos that come out. It's forcing the business owner's hand. It's forcing them to do, all right, well, I'm going to have everything on video. All right, well, I'm going to have it. I mean, for crying out loud, the police have to have a body cam or else they're going to cry racism. And, it's just, it doesn't matter what race you are, it's going to happen. So when you're doing that, when you're forcing that onto a business owner, why would you not choose a AI system that has no racial dictation, that has no, even accented, anything that would cause a human to go off course at all? Course corrected. It's AI. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to train an AI to be racist, and you can't. You can't train an AI to. Well, actually, technically, you can, but that would be a closed model, and I'm sure the chat's going nuts right now. But
the chat thinks you're a shill for AI. They say that you're out of touch. Maybe not all of them.
All right. Well,
no, they said that.
I'd love to know
what did they
how
say?
I'm
They
out
said,
of touch.
Let's see. Brian, how is he out of touch? He says, typical SaaS salesman. Now, I hate SaaS myself.
I fucking hate SaaS, by the way. On-prem is the way to go, by the way.
I'm so sick of it. All these subscriptions are bullshit. They ruin the software. Well, it didn't ruin the profitability of the software industry, but yeah, it's a tank.
No, that's the problem. Listen, I'm a true. So I was blue collar before I went white collar, but the only reason I went white collar was because I kept calling everybody else stupid. And apparently, that's what you do in the corporate world: is you call everybody out, and when you have the balls to call everyone out, they ask you for a solution, and when you give them one, and they follow it, and it works, you become white collar. Like I started I'm a blue collar family. Like I grew up in a home builder family. You know, I mean, like, yes, my brother's a mechanical engineer, but it's just because he went to school and worked his ass off for it. He hates me because I make more money than him. You know what I mean? Like,
and
so,
I have found, and my family is the same way. We're half and half. Like we're half blue collar, half white collar. And so this guy earlier in the last video who was shitting on white collar workers, does he have no siblings that are white collar? Where his dad was a roofer, but I mean, it's just surprising to me. Like, do you not have friends? I mean, I guess not.
I don't understand how
they've
you
created like a mythology of these people that just hate blue collar workers and look down upon them.
Right.
Just like there's like this myth that everybody who's in college is getting a liberal arts degree.
100%. Because you know what I went to college for? A business and a poli-sci minor with a construction engineer minor. So like, I did it all. Did I graduate? No, I quit because I built a business in college, and my coaches said, if you don't maintain this schedule, then we're going to have to let you go off your scholarship. And my schedule was, contradicted to my work schedule, and I built the company. Like I went to school to build a company. I'm building a company. I don't need the schooling anymore, so I quit. Did that hinder me at all? No. Yep. To be honest with you, no. In fact, I got the job with the very large tech company I got just because of my ass, and I worked it off. You know what I mean? Like that's the reason I got this job. I didn't get it from
that's from aging that you lose your ass. It happened to me too.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
And blue collar or not.
I stopped doing squats.
Yeah. Let's see if they have any more questions for you. Zaner says, I'm a breastfeeding counselor and I find it so sick what these children and parents have to go through. It's gross. There is 0 jobs where I am. Breastfeeding counselor, and I find it so sick what these children and parents have to go through. I wonder what he means by that. Small towns are just falling to nothing. Yeah, I'm worried about small towns, but I also think that the whole I think that corporations in general and the consolidation of every single service, Walmart coming in and destroying all the small businesses,
right,
where that money stayed locally. The local hardware shop, Ace Hardware, is locally owned at least. The local hardware shop,
the boys in the back.
The owner of that business owned a nice, big, beautiful house up on the hill of that small town. The owner of that hardware store would hire landscapers locally. He would hire the pool guy. He would hire people to build the house. He would hire. So yes, there were still rich people, but the rich people lived in that town. Now all that money is being sent off to Wall Street, and it's being spent there, or it's being sent off to Silicon Valley. Small business owners are sending 15 to 20% of their revenue on ads, and all that money is going to Facebook and Google. That money's not staying locally. It's not being spent locally. When they made the VAT tax and everybody was freaking out about the value added tax, I was like, damn straight they need to put that in there. All that money is being flushed out of the small towns. And then they wonder how come all these big cities are growing and the small towns around the country are suffering? It's because there's been a funnel and a siphoning of all the value into two places.
My goosebumps couldn't be higher right now on my arms. I'm just saying right now, just 100%. Those Ace Hardware owners should be utilizing AI to augment their business because they're losing to the Home Depots, to the Lowe's of the world. Yeah. Right? Like ask them. Who are they to come into my small town and take my customers? So what do I need to do? I need to utilize AI to see what they're using on their marketing schemes, see what they're utilizing on, because AI can predict almost anything. I mean, it's a magic 8 ball, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And who are these big companies coming to my small town? So why am I, as an Ace Hardware owner, not utilizing AI to my extent? Why would I not utilize it to make my advertising ads? Why would I not utilize AI to say, hey, I'm in a business that does this, and I have a town of this many that does a majority this, and all they have to do is a small amount of research on their own town.
Right.
And give me the best article that I could put in the newspaper at this time to give me the highest resell in my store.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mikey, Mikey, aren't we like, we are talking anti-free market right now? Like, why can't Home Depot? Why can't Lowe's come to the town?
That is free market over free market.
Mm-hmm.
That is, what do you mean?
But you said, how dare they come into your town? How dare they compete with Ace Hardware?
Well, no, exactly.
But we're conservative.
No,
we're conservative Republicans, aren't we? Aren't we for the free market?
Oh, 100%. Which, you know what the free market is?
So we got to let all the immigrants in too.
The free market is the mom and pop shop.
We need to let all of the third world immigrants in and let them compete away our jobs.
No, we don't. Hold on. Whoa.
I know we don't.
So we might be confused. No. I see you doing the devil's advocate. This is good. I like it. And you're right. We should. Immigrants should be allowed to come in and have the most competitive field in our markets allowed. That's right. You're 100% correct, as long as that's a legal citizen. And I will tell you, to this day, I have had one of the best salesperson I've ever hired was from Iran. I'm not going to tell you that because his dad owned poppy fields. I'm going to tell you that because he sold his ass off and he was a good employee.
Yeah.
I don't care where you come from.
They're very good salesmen.
I'm asking you to pay taxes. Yeah, I mean, if there's poppy seeds, you can sell anything. I'm asking you, if you're paying taxes in my land, and you're contributing to our society, good.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Yes.
You're a citizen. You're paying taxes. You're contributing. Good. I don't care what the hell you do in your own private. I don't care what mat you prey on to what direction. I ask you to just be a contributor to society. So don't care. It doesn't matter to me who's selling what. I don't care who it is. If it's Best Buy, if it's Home Depot, if it's who, as long as it's a fair opportunity. when you come into a small town, and I've already, if you're an Ace Hardware owner in a small town and you can't hold your land against a Home Depot, you have a problem with your population, not with your sales technique, because Ace Hardware has always sold. Ace is the place with the help for hardware folk.
Mm-hmm.
You're not selling cheap hardware. You're selling a friendly hand. So just stick to your sales tactic.
Right. Did you say it was a coworker or an employee that you hired from Iran who was a sales
multiple.
rep? And he was
I've had multiple.
Okay, so he was an incredible sales rep, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Did you pay him less?
Came here legally. No, you can't. It's illegal to do that. I worked in Texas. I mean, like this was a car dealership in Texas. You can't. This is the problem, and I apologize. I'm not trying to call people out on the left, but this is the problem with the left saying that they pay him less. And no, you can't. It's illegal to do that. You
well,
have
as a car
payroll
salesman,
taxes.
it would be, yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I still have to pay payroll taxes on a car salesman.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's not commission only, because if they don't make commission, I have to pay minimum wage. So it's not like I can just pay them under. Even restaurant employees nowadays, you can't pay under the table. I don't know what the left thinks they're talking about when they say that. Oh, well, they're picking our fields. Well, then you're running an illegal operation.
Right.
I own 7 businesses. I cannot pay someone under the table and pay my own taxes legally. So if someone's paying someone under the table,
they're
illegal.
skipping on payroll taxes. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, everyone's over the table to me. So if you're here and you're working for me, you're legal because you have to be. Which doesn't. So
right.
That's the whole argument that I don't understand on the left. Like I am sympathetic to anybody coming to our country. I am I'm first generation, so I'm very sympathetic. But the problem is, like, I don't understand. If you're coming here, it's okay. So there's a problem, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, then come through the border where they say to come through. Oh, okay. There's a problem. Yeah. All right. Well, find this. I have Palestinian friends that I've known since 2007 that came here legally, that are Palestinian.
Right.
I don't understand the fight. I don't understand the argument on the other side. Well, they have to be allowed here.
So I'm going to give you an argument that you might not have heard before. Maybe you have, I don't know. Because and I'm on the right, but the argument that we should be bringing in super talented people, high IQ people from other countries.
Sure.
The problem I have with that is here's why not. Because it's essentially theft. If we paid our smartest minds to go to school for 13 years, because we do.
We didn't, though.
We didn't?
Who's we?
We. If Americans...
Do you have a mouse in your pocket?
Do I have a mouse?
Oh, through our taxes.
Yeah, through our taxes, schooling. And then we also subsidize the colleges where they go. They get an education.
Yes.
And then Germany can come in and steal our brightest minds and have them go work there. Is that... I wouldn't consider that be okay. We've made a social contract with our citizens. If a Chinese student has a social contract...
No, we didn't. Oh, hold on. See, here's where we're getting to murky waters. And here's where Trump, to be honest with you, chat, here's where you're all going to hate me. Here's where Trump's doing the miraculous work of Trump. Here's where we get into murky waters. Those people that went to our university, FYI, are our people. They are no longer contributors to external states. So the second you get a 4-year degree, I'm sorry, especially from a state-run university, that degree now belongs to the state. So if you are from China, came over to get a degree, and you go to work in China, I think 100% the U.S. should block it. I think 100% we should pull visas from anybody.
Hold on. Maybe I'm confused with what you're saying. If someone is born in China, they're raised in China.
Go on. Yep.
Or let's just say a country that has socialized medicine.
Well,
right?
Okay.
Hold on.
No, Because if we're going to do that, then you're going to talk about like Switzerland and.
Sure, if they're raised in Switzerland and you're being supported by the Swiss or whatever, they're your countrymen, because that's what we do when we invest in the future. That's what they tell us. Let's invest in the future. Let's make school lunch free.
You're right.
Let's give everybody a good education. Let's make sure that everybody has Medicaid, or let's just make sure everybody's covered.
No. Yeah.
Because we're investing in the future. But if another country comes along and says, okay, we're stealing them now that they're of the age to work and actually be productive, we're going to take that individual. You don't see anything ethically wrong with that?
No. Wait, where did I say I didn't see that wrong?
Well, I mean, just like, you didn't say that, but what I'm telling you is this is the point that I've made. When Elon and Vivek were saying we need to steal the best and brightest minds, my question would be, why are they the best and brightest? How did they get there?
Right. Okay. We agree and disagree 100% on this point. Like,
and
so this is really
to be
an
honest, that's where
awkward
I'm at too.
conversation.
Yeah.
However,
I agree with myself one day and disagree with myself the other. I go back and forth.
Right. No. Yep. So, and I am in the industry. Right? So I am in a very large tech company. And when I say we're very large, I'm like, to your chat followers, the first AI out there is the company I work for. So when they follow it or find it out, let me know. I agree and disagree with Elon, because I agree with we should steal the smartest and the brightest minds out there, and we did. We did in World War II, and we masked it. We masked it under some treaty BS. We did a lot of shady stuff.
No.
Like if anybody's if anybody's a poli-sci minor, they understand, because that's why they become a minor. Is they figured out all the shady stuff we did.
That is not the first time you've told that joke.
Right, but actually it is. But
nice.
The problem is like we need to protect ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is that the rest of the world doesn't comprehend things like we do. They don't. Free isn't a word. Is in Mandarin. Like free isn't a word. Like it doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Like that's not a mindset to understand. So when we say those things and we understand them, and when we fight for them in battle, we understand different things that our counterparts do. This is the same battle with AI. It literally is. When we stand there and we say from New York City, freedom is not beating someone down in submissiveness, and we battle against a Chinese culture that does that for a living, and then we agree upon some, Treaty of Versailles of BS that allows China to continue to do it as long as it's under a corporate flag, that's not freedom. That's not business. That's not corporate. That's not. So when we fight on the Trump side, when we fight on the right side, when we fight for those freedoms, we're not fighting for those companies to just be able to do whatever they want. No, we're fighting for those companies to be able to do what they want in the right parts of those employees. We're not fighting for the freedom of just generalized Nike to go out and rape and pillage China. We're fighting for the freedom of Joe Schmo to be able to manufacture something at a cost that he can afford, where he makes a profit for his family. That's the difference between the left and the right. We fight for an equal economy, and they fight for an equal right individually. And there's a huge difference.
Or we fight for an equal economy? Or like an equal playing field?
Well, right. Well, no, because you can't have an equal playing field. Like, if you say equal playing field, the left's going to say, well, then we all start the same, but we don't. We don't start the same. But there's not an equal outcome either. So it's what you do with it's funny. I'm from Vegas. it's what you do with the cards you're dealt.
Right.
If you can turn them and burn them, you're great. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing in life and you just flop them out there, then I'm sorry for you. You know?
Yeah. Yep. It's quite interesting. Noah wants to know, what does this have to do with AI? Noah, do you know how this channel works? This is what we do.
Did you not
here.
hear all of the AI talk in between?
Noah, are you autistic? Are you a developer?
Noah's an engineer.
Noah is an engineer. Noah hates social gatherings. Noah doesn't understand how people can carry on conversations. Noah hates the theater. He doesn't know what yes and means.
Noah doesn't
we're just playing
understand the
with you,
Matrix.
Noah. He's just keeping us honest.
He's not lying though.
We haven't talked about the Antichrist in at least an hour, so
we can go into that. I like that talk.
Well, you missed it. He'll call back in the next live. I should probably go though. My wife wants me to watch a show with her. I want to watch a show with her. We've been watching. We have been, for anyone who hasn't seen it, This Is Us. Everybody tells me, I tell people watch it, and they said I don't want to cry, and so I just call them pussies.
That is my answer.
You don't want to be manipulated?
Only
into tears?
only because I've watched it 47% and started to cry, so I had to stop.
Oh God! How far? What season are you on?
47%. So
like through the whole series?
4, 5, 3.
Okay.
Yeah, no joke.
Okay. I don't.
Like the second you start to cry is when I turn it off.
I have committed to finishing season 2. We'll see where we're at.
Once
I figure out what happened to the dad, how he died, then I'm out.
That's when you're about to start to cry. So season 3 is when you're out.
Okay, sweet. Good, because I can't commit to however many. There's like 150 episodes. It's nuts.
Too many.
Yeah. And have you seen some of the AI videos? I'm worried that, I'm not worried, but I told my dad when we saw Avatar 2, I said, because the Avatar 3 and 4 were coming out like really quickly compared to how long they waited between 1 and 2. And I told my dad, I said, the reason Avatar 3 is coming out as quick as it is because in like 10 years, you and I are going to have the tools to be able to create our own Avatar movie. And not only that, I fully believe we'll be able to do full body scans and facial scans and insert ourselves into movies in the future where we are the lead character. I'm convinced with how fast it's progressing.
Did you bet your father on that at all?
No, my father was.
Did you put?
This is so funny. So my father's super square religious guy, and we were pissing after Avatar 2 at the urinals.
Oh my God! Can you get him on? Can you get him on one of these casts?
Oh God, that'd be so funny. He's a little bit autistic himself, so he wouldn't be a good conversationalist. But he said the funniest thing he's ever said to me.
Better.
We were both pissing, and he turned and I said, "What is her name?" What is her name? Chat. What's the mom's name? Navi?
Oh fuck!
Navi? Yeah.
Like in her name in real life, or her name?
The actress. She plays the. God, what is her name? It's bugging the crap out of me. It's 1 a.m. Everybody. Zoe Zaldana. She's been in like.
It's at 1 a.m.
4.
Oh, so you're East Coast?
Yeah, I'm Mountain Time. Zoe Zaldana's been in like 4 movies that have broken $1 billion. And my dad was just saying how her skill is to play a sexy alien. And he was like getting upset about it, and I was just laughing my ass off because I've never heard my dad say something like that before. He's like, she's just good at playing a sexy alien. That's a core memory of mine now.
Now it is. Lock it in. Now I'm gonna have to sit and remember what movie that was from.
Which movie?
Because all I can remember her from is from the House episodes.
She was in House.
She was the mom in she was in House for a while. Is it Rachel Ziegler? No, it's what's the actress in
Olivia Wilde, Jennifer Morrison, Lisa Edelstein. Scott. Yeah, I'll try this into poverty and create no middle class. Chat is not helping with the actors.
No, they're doing a great job.
Zayners, send me a chat tomorrow for you. Anywho, it's been a pretty interesting conversation tonight. Did we lose you?
Nope.
Yeah, interesting conversation. And I'm sure you had a lot more to say, but as always, I derail. So we just talk whatever we want to talk about. It's not structured. All right. Thanks again for calling in. Really appreciate it, Mikey. I'll talk to you again later. Let's see the comments, see if there's anything important here. There's always, okay, Scott says there's always a equal outcome as long as there's a fair playing field, whether you're poor because I'm broke, but if I become rich, does that mean that it's an unfair playing field? I mean, it all comes down to the Peter principle. Those who have will have more. Those who have not will have less. And that just plays out regardless of whatever society you're part of. It's going to happen in a mixed economy. It's going to always happen. And so you got to do things to mitigate that. Money printing is definitely not one of them. Noah says, I'm a conservative and love a free market, but there has to be checks and balances. A healthy society doesn't live on the extreme. It thrives in the gray middle area. Exactly, Noah. I mean, does this idea that every man for themselves, is that going to exist in a tribe? If that wouldn't exist at the small scale, it's not going to work at the large scale. Noah says, yes, I'm probably undiagnosed. We were just messing with you, Noah. A free market when it's owned by Amazon and eBay, sure thing. What's our market share? Exactly. And eBay just constantly is raising the prices, the fees on sellers. I know I'm a six-figure seller on eBay, and every single year our costs to sell on eBay continue to grow up or go up. And the same happens for people who are reseller or who are sellers on Amazon. The fees every single year just continue to go up. And lo and behold, the stock prices of these companies just continue to go up. Maybe not eBay's. I hope eBay's is down, to be honest. Bastards. eBay stock price. Year to date, eBay stock price. Year to date, eBay stock price is up 21%. Okay, the average stock return is supposed to be something like 8%. In the last year, eBay's return, and this is when eBay started squeezing their resellers, decided to start creating promoted listings. In the last year, they're up 43%. Are there 43% more people shopping on eBay? I highly doubt that. This is actually pretty interesting. They're only up 27% in the past 5 years. So right around November 2023, when they started pushing more promoted listings, all of a sudden their stock prices continue to go up. Why? Because they decided to do exactly what Google does, is just charge everybody for advertising. That's where the money's at. That's where Facebook makes its billions. Jashan, ever had your baby stolen by a black guy? No, I've never had my baby stolen by a black guy. Um, yeah, I will try this into power. Blood Diabo, ever had your bike stolen by a black guy? No, but I have stolen a bike before. Not recently, obviously as a kid. You don't actually. No, I haven't. I've stolen a scooter. It wasn't a bike. It was a scooter, but it had the pump up tires. I maybe would have returned it. Ever had a black guy? Wait, I think that's illegal nowadays. Yeah, that's illegal. Maybe in some parts of the world it's not. I'm actually going to finish this video because it's a really good one.
Always been there. And frankly, I've felt the same way about some recruiting and some job searches that I've had in my own past where, I sit there and I question their ability, their competency, how companies hire, how it's so broken. And so the whole channel kind of came, there's an element of negativity to the channel. And I understand that some people have told me that I'm too negative, and I really try to give a balance. I really try hard to give it a kind of a neutral, like I don't try to be overly positive. I don't try to be overly negative, but it's getting harder and harder to make content based on how careers have gone. That is not slanted toward the negative side of the spectrum. And
it's also getting harder to make content because there's just so much content that's being made. So you used to be able to talk about anything and your video is going to show up in enough feeds to make it worth your time. Now there is just so much content out there that if you're not making content every single day, nobody's even going to see you.
The problem is it's that companies have made it this way, and kind of boils down to, this is where I'm concerned about where the job market is going, where careers are going. My whole goal in this whole channel was to try to give, again, people the power back in their career so they weren't just navigating it blindly, not knowing the rules. And in my case, I figured out a lot of the rules along the way. I saw behind the scenes. I saw how hiring managers worked. I saw how companies worked. And I would share these perspectives so that you could use it to your advantage. And what I've been noticing kind of overwhelmingly at times is, no matter how positive the content that I make is, no matter how beneficial I feel the content is, the comments are overloaded with people who are just overly cynical and overly negative. And sometimes I sit there and I go, and I think to myself, I see these comments come in and I just wonder, like, why is it that we have arrived at that point where nothing is good, everything is bad, and no matter how much reclaiming of control, people still look at the glass as half empty.
I do not understand why YouTubers struggle with this concept. Negativity it's an energy. It's a motivation. If you're pissed off, you're going to comment. You're going to write something. If you disagree with somebody, you're going to write something. If you're nodding your head yes and you're agreeing with somebody, you're not going to comment. I've been on YouTube for 10 years, more than that. Even when I did tutorials and coding and 3D modeling and all that stuff, I would get negative comments. People this sucks. I hate this. But it was few. You get 10 positive comments and 1 negative one. Whoop-de-freaking-do. And people can't function because there's bullying online. People are killing themselves because there's bullying online. There goes my demonetization. You can have the whole world love you. One person says something mean to you, and all of a sudden, you're crying about it. I get one caller that's trolling, and I'm just going to quit. I'm going to cry about it. People mess with people. People are upset. People are angry. People talk shit. That's just the world. That's how the world works. And especially online, where there's people who will say shit to me that I know if I met them, we'd be friends. And I've said stuff to people before online as well, where Of course, we're not going to talk that way if we were meeting in person. So I don't understand why all these YouTubers don't just take comments with a grain of salt, the negative ones. For one, you can block people. For two, who polishes your turds every time you shit to think that you need to get so upset just because somebody doesn't like you or disagrees with you? Welcome to the real world, bitch.
And quite frankly, I don't blame them. The job market has been completely transformed, and not for the better, over the last 4 to 5 years as I've been working through this channel. It's never been necessarily a great career market for most people. You know, companies have always been quote unquote in control, and they're writing your paycheck for you. You know, they're signing the check.
No, you're exactly right. Some people just take themselves way too seriously. 100%, I agree. I've never taken myself that seriously. I do serious things. I have my family. I have my life. I have my career. I have things. But if somebody doesn't like me, that's fine. If somebody disagrees with me, that's fine.
Check. They're always going to have some level of control over what you can do and how you can do it. But I do feel that there's a seismic shift or a fracturing, if you will, in careers around the time of the pandemic. So 2020. Careers have never really felt the same since. And it's just been one uppercut after another for the job seeker. And these companies basically have become, I might say the term soulless, and I say that kind of loosely because it's always, the corporation is a soulless, it's an entity. It's an entity that's only purpose is to maximize shareholder value and drive profits. And that's inherently against what the human element of it, the employee's purpose is, because the employee is the biggest expense. The benefits costs, the training costs, dealing with employee relations issues, all of that stuff, that's the biggest expense that a company has. So there's an inherent butting of heads there, and that will probably never change. But I feel that because careers have become, or should say corporations, because corporations have become so much more transactional and short-cycled, this has only sped up this rapid de-evolution of careers and having a successful career. Like, what's the definition of a successful career? Used to be back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, maybe even 80s, we were able to work long, successful careers, wouldn't have to worry about too many unplanned disruptions. And you could feasibly park your butt at a single company and work there for the majority of your career. And I have my parents, my friends' parents, people in my family, I've seen it. I've seen these people be able to work very long, successful careers without having a lot of career disruption. But ever since 2020, the idea of having a long, solid, stable career has basically been thrown out the window. Now companies are so short-sighted, they're only looking for the next cycle, the next earnings report to come out. And there is a sense that everything is temporary. And I even think it's the people who come into these roles. I mean, you look at like CEOs and how long they last in these organizations, or, you know, CHROs who come into these organizations, blow them all up, and then within 6 months, they're gone anyway. So they've left this wake of destruction behind them. They're off on a different opportunity. They got this golden parachute, and there's no accountability there. And that's just how corporations, it's become, it was always very sterile and very cold, but I think even more so now, it's very cold, calculating, and almost it's like a ruthlessness. And I just don't see this ending. In fact, it's even speeding up. It used to be, you know, layoff cycles, you used to have it once every 10 years or so. Major event would happen and there would be some major layoff. But now it's starting to become much more a quick cycle. So, you know, every 2 to 3 years now, we're seeing major layoffs. And in fact, I think it's going to continue to shorten. And so these employees who got laid off, let's say that the people in 2020 who got laid off, it took them let's say a year to get back to work. In some cases, that was probably the worst job market year I've ever experienced. I think the overall market is as bad as it's ever been right now. But that was the first time, like 1 year segment. That was probably the worst. those people finally get back to work in 2021, the boom, the employment boom, and we all think it's over. We're going to finally have some power. But obviously that didn't last very long. It was the whiplash effect of getting back, the economy is starting to run again, and people found themselves unemployed just as fast as they found themselves employed. So people who were finally getting back to work have not been able to maintain any semblance of upward mobility in their careers. It's like every single time they take a step up the ladder, they get beaten down 2 or 3 rungs. And then they start finally moving up the ladder again, they get beaten down another 2 rungs. And if you go through several years of that, it's no wonder that so many people are disenfranchised. And frankly, it's getting harder and harder for me to justify anything related to corporations and how they behave. It's almost like a psychotic or sociopathic behavior. These corporations are out of control. There's absolutely no guide rails. There is no accountability, and they can treat people any way they want. They just look at the interview process. People are asked to jump through hoop after hoop, to go through round after round of interviewing, only to get ghosted. Or if you're lucky enough to get a job offer, you've got to literally fight tooth and nail just to get a reasonable offer. And then good luck keeping that job. In some cases, they're laying people or rescinding offers before the person even starts. So I know some anecdotal stories where people are moving across the country to take a job. They quit their previous job, they get a new job, and before they even start, they get the offer rescinded. Oh, there's been a change of plans. We're no longer emphasizing this role. And it's like there's no recourse for that person who has now been basically completely uprooted, and they've basically ruined their career, and they can just walk away and say, yeah, sorry, them's the breaks. It's the same thing if you finally get a job. You can't necessarily rest on your laurels and say, hey, I finally arrived, everything's back to normal, because 6 months later, there's going to be another round of layoffs that you got to worry about. Am I going to get caught up in this one? And I've known people that have had very long, successful careers up until 2020 that suddenly every successive job they've had since then, they're lasting 6 months to a year. And then the irony of this is it's not even their fault. These companies just have this short cycle. They hire a whole bunch of people, they get the project out the door, suddenly things aren't going so well, they decide to lay off that entire staff. And it's not the person's fault, it's the company, it's the management, it's the senior leadership, really. It's not even the management, it's the senior leadership that has this short-sightedness, and there's no accountability. And then who is the one who loses the most? It's the employee. Now they've got a job-hopping resume. Now those same employers that laid them off are then judging them, saying, you don't seem like you can keep a job. And it's just, the irony of it is just, it's so rich and thick, and it's really hard to justify it. And, from my perspective as a career strategist, as a corporate recruiter, trying to give advice on how to handle this stuff, it's getting harder and harder to justify the behavior. It's like, how do you manage psychotic behavior? Somebody is completely off the rails. There's no reasoning with them. They are seeing things from a certain lens that is not reasonable. And that's what a lot of these corporations are doing. You're essentially dealing with a sociopathic environment, careers in general. And it's not just one employer. It's pretty much the whole gamut. And again, there's no recourse. They can lay off all these people. And what happens? The stock price jumps. The market rewards them for this type of behavior. And these CEOs can take their golden parachute and go to the next one and go to the next one and go to the next one, and it doesn't matter. And I increasingly been thinking about, what's the future of work? The future of work, to me, is looking as bleak as it ever has. And especially when you look at this drive for AI. And I know I've talked about it on my channel. I've kind of been warning people of the impact of AI. And I think a lot of people have this view of AI as, well, it's not capable. It's not going to replace me. It still has a lot of issues. There's no way that you're going to be able to fully replace the workforce. And to an extent, I agree. There is going to be some need for people to strategize where the AI can do all the kind of the heavy lifting below it. But the way that the companies are pushing for AI and implementing it in every facet of every product that's out there, including search engines, including the platforms that you consume your content on, there is no facet of life that isn't being touched by AI. And to me, like, I do see there being a value. I use ChatGPT to help with researching things, and there is some benefit to it. But what I'm seeing is increasingly that people are being very inauthentic, that these platforms are being filled with AI slop and fake videos. And pretty soon you're going to be watching YouTube and like TikTok and places like that. And you're going to be lucky if you can find actual authentic creator content. I'm just using creator content as one aspect, but look at your career, look at your industries. They are trying to use AI to augment and supplement everything. And if you don't think that it's going to replace jobs, I think you're being extremely naive. And it's maybe not today, but look at where things were just a year ago or 2 years ago or 4 years ago. What are jobs going to look like in 5 years from now, 10 years from now? The cycle of evolution is at a staggering pace. And that's what scares me the most. And it's not that I'm scared of AI necessarily, but what I'm scared of is the impact on people's careers and the number of people who are likely to be left behind. And this isn't necessarily like a Chicken Little Skies Falling AI video, but really it's kind of just looking at the bigger picture of careers. So you've got these companies that are laying people off, looking at only the next earning cycle. They're not keeping people on long-term. There's no such thing as long-term jobs. They're replacing jobs with contracted positions. So they're taking a full-time headcount and turning it into a part-time contracted role so they can remove benefits. They're forcing people back into the offices. They're requiring entry-level people to have lots of years of experience because they can. The job market is so bad that people are throwing resumes and there's no consequence. The company can hire people, they can lowball people, because there's plenty of applicants. There's thousands of people applying from all over the globe, and especially for those remote jobs. Here's another thing that's happening too, is the remote jobs are actually being offshored. So there is a shortage of remote jobs in the United States, but a lot of those remote jobs are being offshore because they can pay them less money to do the same work. So you've got this augmenting of the workplace, you've got this offshoring of the workforce, and you've got a lot of people who are feeling increasingly just disenfranchised. You're following all the rules. You're doing all the things that you should be doing. You're getting the education. There's not a direct correlation to that actually helping you. Just ask any entry-level person who's just graduated in the last year or two, how's their career going? How is getting started in your career really working out for you? Some people who have implemented strategy are doing decent, not gonna lie. But for the majority of people, starting your career off in a market like this is not normal. This is not how I started off my career. The job market and careers in general just feels overly dystopian right now, and I'm trying to find a positive pathway through it. The only thing that I've been able to find is reclaiming control in your career. And I use that term a lot. People kind of I think it goes over a lot of people's heads what that actually means, but trying to establish your own authority in your career and no longer relying on employers. And it doesn't mean being your own boss or starting your own company. That could be part of it.
Gotta turn my mic on. He means you can drive for Uber and Lyft. That's the autonomy he's talking about.
Part of it, but that's not the focus of it. But really what the focus is taking proactive steps to be in the most advantageous position so that companies look at you as...
Guys, I can stream on YouTube and Kick and Twitch. The autonomy is off the charts.
Somebody of true desire that they want to hire, and then you can start to write the rules. It's kind of like flipping the script, and it's only a very...
I am being sarcastic, in case that wasn't obvious.
Small percentage of people who are able to actually do this successfully. And if you don't have a guide rail or
no, I have 5 sources of income. Every 3 years, I got to replace one of them. As one dies out, I got to build up another one. I've been doing that for 12 years. It's ridiculous.
Method or a map that you're following, it's going to be almost impossible for you to do it. Very few people have kind of figured out the secret behind it. And that's one of the reasons why I started this channel, is to really start to talk through what that is. But for the majority of people, there is a sense that there is no hope. And I see it. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. It's getting harder and harder for me to create content. It's getting harder and harder for me to ignore the negative sentiment of the workplace, because I get it. I understand where they're coming from, and companies are just not making it any easier. So I'm concerned about where things are heading. I'm concerned about what the next 5 to 10 to 20 years looks like in careers. I just don't see this as, unless something major happens and something major changes, the dystopian nature of where we're heading as a society, careers just being one component of it, the dystopian direction things are heading with automation, with AI, just in basically every facet of your life, it's starting to feel more and more like a Black Mirror episode. And if you haven't seen that show, you should check it out. It's kind of scary, but you should check it out. But anyway, that's kind of my rant for today. I don't really have anything else to add to it. Just kind of what I've been feeling and thinking as I'm like working through content and trying to continue to find ways to add value. And, you know, this video doesn't necessarily add value, just kind of more an observation. So I don't know. What do you think? Are you as concerned about where careers are headed as I am?
I've been concerned about this for like 20 years. So AI just woke everybody up to it. I was concerned about it when Walmart was eating up all the smaller mom and pop shops. Because where does it lead? Everybody's working for a corporation. Look at the stock market returns for the top 7. The top 7 in the stock market account for the majority of the returns. Top for majority of returns. Let's see what AI is giving me the answer. Awesome. 7 companies referred to as the Magnificent Seven have been credited with driving a significant portion of the stock market returns. Thanks for using the word significant and not a freaking number. What percent? The Magnificent Seven in 2023 accounted for 40% of the total return. It wasn't like that 50 years ago. Consolidation, no breathing. All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Check out the video that was uploaded today about the housing market being a total scam right now. Have a good one. Peace out.